Hello, lovely people. I'm Sinead, and welcome to another Craft and Chat. This week, I am going to work on Granny's herb jars, and I think I'm going to do some extras for the shop. So if you're interested in that, they'll be there in the shop, available for you. There's not really anything to go over, so let's turn the camera around and get started. Here is Granny's rose petal herb jar. It has a button to go through the loop on her skirt. And these are rose petals from my garden. My rose bush doesn't produce a lot of roses. And this year I actually got, I think 6 roses came out on it. Last year there was, I think, 1. So this year was much better than last year. They smell fantastic. It's a really potent rose bush. So I am not going to glue the cork in place. You'll be able to uncork it and smell the wonderful roses from my rose bush. And I also plan on doing her a lavender herb jar here. I have to figure out where my lavender stash is, or purchase some more lavender. I haven't run across it yet. But I have these other jars that I am going to fill with rose petals. And I tried the several different methods, and just grabbing a petal and stuffing it in seems to be the best method. This morning when I was trying to get ready to start doing this episode, I was taking some fabric upstairs to put away, and it's so funny as I looked up and I saw the window that I've been trying to get finished up there. I documented that in shorts, so you can see that there if you're curious as to what I was doing. And I get up there and I look at the window and I'm like, oh yeah, I was thwarted this weekend. The paint that my son brought me had gone bad. There was no salvaging it. And so I let him know that I needed more paint, or we needed to choose a color or something. So that was white paint. I was just going to paint it white. And, so the paint was bad, and I thought, okay, well, bring me the colored paint or something else and make sure it's, good before we get started on this. And it took a couple days for him to get out there and check into that. And we found lavender and yellow and pink, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And the room will eventually be occupied by Joey. So I wanted, their input around the window, and we are making every effort on finishing this up, not to purchase anything right now. And they're like, oh, lavender would be great. So, I'm all ready for that when I realize that there are areas that really just need white paint, and I am trying to figure this out. And anyway, my son finds a small can of white paint, so solved. And so I've got these 2 cans of paint now. I've got the lavender, and I have decided not to let go of trimming it in lavender. But it does change how I will approach it, since I can do the base coat in white and get it started. Anyway, I'm up there and I'm looking at the window and I'm thinking about the fact that, it's going to take days to get that done because you got to wait for it to dry. And I am not dressed for painting, but I went over and I opened the can and I started painting. So I got the first coat on this morning, and I was doing actually really good at keeping the paint off of me. I only had, like a little bit of paint on my fingers. And I come downstairs after I'm done. I've managed to do the whole paint surround. Wow, that just keeps popping back out. I've managed to do the whole paint surround, and I come downstairs to wash out the brush, I finish up washing the brush and I look down. I mean, I'm double checking to make sure I didn't get paint on myself anywhere. I looked down and when I was washing the brush, I got paint on the front of me on my vest. I was like, well, at least it's fresh. You know, went and cleaned that up. So, so no catastrophes, nothing ruined. I managed to get out of that one unscathed, which is somewhat surprising. Taking up, doing the paint. Oh, look at that. The handle goes down in there. Well, I wish I had discovered that sooner. That's a lot easier. And yes, I'm trying to stuff a lot in here. Cool. Really wish I'd discovered that sooner. So that was my adventure for starting the morning. Well, after waking up and discovering that I was in full-blown allergy mode, my face was swollen and not happy. So thus no lipstick, because whenever the face is all swollen and there's allergies, you know that your nose is probably going to run. And so I just don't with the lipstick. Don't even fight that battle. But the successful painting was nice. Well, that's going really well. So on last Friday was the second episode of Outfitting Granny. And no, I have not got the pottery video done. I kind of feel bad for that because I did say that it would be up soon. And yeah, the editing hasn't happened. It took far longer to edit and actually get all of the filming done for Friday's video of Granny. And I guess the second installment was last Friday, and the last installment will hopefully be this Friday. So it's a total of 3 videos for her outfitting, and I think it's well worth it. It really kind of gives you an idea of how long it takes, because it's a week's worth of work as well as filming and editing. And every time I go over schedule, which is what happened on those first 2, it pushes the week further out for the editing. And that's why the pottery didn't happen, is that I was busy doing the editing on Granny. And you'll have to tune in this coming Friday because her wig is spectacular. You'll want to see that. And there is, of course, the walking stick will also be finished up for that. And you're getting to see this now, but you'll get to see it on her. And hopefully I will have found the lavender. I found the grommets that I wasn't sure about, So that's when I say that I have to go hunting, yet I love it when I actually find it. But it does require that I look places other than the craft stash, I guess, because I have moved things all around, and I have stuff tucked upstairs. In fact, most of the fabric is still upstairs that should be down here. I have just boxes that have stashes of stuff. The stuff for sale is kept upstairs in containers to keep it all tidy. And so when a craft supply, which I kind of think of the lavender as a craft supply, even though I guess it could actually be tea, or which, yeah, We've used it in food, we've used it in tea. So I always, when I buy organic, and otherwise we do have, I think we still have 2 lavender plants out in the yard that are doing okay. And sometimes we harvest from that. Most of the time we forget, just to be honest there. And we just enjoy the plant as is. And oh, that was another thing. I was considering, so we have cedar trees, I guess Pacific Northwestern cedar trees, which are related to the juniper. They're not actually that fragrant red cedar that, that cedar chests are made out of. That, I think, is a deciduous tree, and our cedar trees are evergreens, but they have a great juniper smell. And I was considering drying that and putting it into jars. Mostly, this is making me think, this brings back memories of when I was a kid and I discovered that there were spices that in the spice jars that were just delicious smelling. I mean, not like I want to eat them delicious, but like I just really like that scent. And so as a child, I raided that spice cabinet, and I put, I think it was cinnamon and cloves, into an antique bottle that I'd gotten at a garage sale. And just really enjoyed taking that cork out every so often and being transported. It was magical, because the scent to me was something akin to of magicians and genies and even, dare I say, fairies. Just a magical world. It was, I don't even know why, but it was. So when I'm doing these jars that I plan on leaving the corks where you can remove them and smell the item inside, I was thinking along the lines of capturing some of that, those scents from the Pacific Northwest, well, specifically in the trees. We don't, let's see, we have the cedar trees that have that juniper smell. I might even try wild roses at some point. They have a very, very delicate scent, and it's something that you kind of pick up on the wafting on the air. It doesn't really concentrate at the flowers so much. Like if you go over and you are sniffing, I can't smell a whole lot on the actual flower, but I might try it just to see if I can get it to a point that you could smell the wild roses. I mean, if there's enough in a jar, maybe dried, they might produce some nice fragrance. I don't know. But if you can think of anything else that would be potential for something you'd love to find, and open in a jar, or say, let me know if there was something that a fragrance, a natural fragrance that takes you to a magical place. Obviously, we're not going to do any synthetic fragrances. Those are the bane of my existence. So, yeah, but do let me know if there's something like that just takes you to, I don't know, maybe to a special memory. I always wanted to create a scent that would take my kids back to their childhood. And I'm going to admit that I wore a lot of rose perfume, and these rose petals were a part of that, trying to make sure that, we were still doing the rose scent and whatnot. Anyway, it's starting to sound really corny to me, but roses were something that probably is a scent that I loved from my childhood, because my grandmother, whose name was Rose, had a lot of roses in her life and probably wore the fragrance as well. I can't remember, but it's a comforting smell for me, I guess. I hope you enjoyed our time together, and I look forward to seeing your questions and comments. And I'll see you next Friday. I'll see you on Friday. Bye-bye.